I would like to introduce the next panel. Creativity in challenging fundamentalism and defending secularism. And the chair for this... And the chair for this panel is Jenny Wenhammar, artist, art teacher, and the founder of Feminine Sweden. Give it up, please.
So you are sitting over here, Maryam? Here.
Maryam.
Our side over here.
Oh.
And you are sitting... Oh, no, sorry. I'm here. Amed is here. Scott is here. Doesn't super matter. And it's missing.
I have my coat.
Mohamed. There you are.
My coat. Not coat. You remember?
Oh, it's working. Thank you to Adrian who borrowed me a watch, because I'm the time optimist that is supposed to keep the time here. That's a challenge. And we will talk about other challenges too. Do you hear me? Yeah. All right. Okay. So... I guess by now you are all convinced what's bad about fundamentalism. But maybe there is someone who is not convinced. And anyway, there are some billions who are not convinced. So we need to find forms of how we can change their perspective. And this panel is here to talk about creativity in doing so, and to find steps from this is so bad and this is so wrong to what can I do to make a change. To go from the facts of fundamentalism to the funny house with mirrors that distort dogmatic views and provoke the provocable and challenge them to find what? I want to thank an earlier panel today that brought up the consequences for the ones suffering from fundamentalism. And I have noticed while talking to my panel that we have all made a lot of creative activities already, and we are kind of tired. We have been sick, and I think that was a very important panel to discuss it, so it's addressed. But I wanted to have this with you, that it's a hard battle. So this is what you say in French, guerrière, repousse de guerrière.
Repos de la guerrière.
Guerrière. And it's like a rest to be here with you, with all of you. And I have also suffered a lot as feminine activist of losing job, losing my home, losing my heart that stopped working. And also losing my self-confidence in that way of being so pushed away from society. And I'm not the only one here that's ostracized in my country and from many panels. So in the name of being tired and bringing in some science, there is some science about yawning, and that yawning brings us all together. So let's do some big yawning now. Oh! Come on, the yawning. Oh! Oh! Oh!
Do it.
Are you feeling more together now? Yes. There is actually science that brings us together. and that it also makes you open to switch your mind into something new. And well, first of all, I just wanted to say also thank you to all of you. We've been waiting all these years since Amsterdam in the Bijle, and it was, I think nobody mentioned it, so I want to say how fantastic it was, the finishing session we had there. It was really touching for all of us who were there. And I want to say that I really miss Shabana, who was there, who was supposed to be here, but who is really, really fighting hard right now with cancer, and she's in a new treatment that is like the latest of science, coming to Germany to see if she can survive pancreas cancer. I don't know if Armin is here. Yeah, I remember she lifted you, the way she lifted the mullah in Norway before. I also want to say that I miss Inna Shevchenko, who was supposed to be here, and I will read a message from her soon. I want to say thank you to Sami, who had patience with me for half a year, and to Maryam, that I think most of us are here because it's Maryam that is organizing all this from what she built up. And I know you said, like, never again right before this started, because you were so tired. And then when we all come, we get all this energy from meeting, and it's so fantastic to meet. And Betty, you just said, like, 15 minutes ago, like, never again I'm doing this panel thing. You've been so worried about how it's going to work out. But, you know, we do it, and that's, I think, what's defined many of us. We just do it even if it's difficult. So Betty from Morocco is here, like the most known face of atheism in Morocco, and very much not welcomed by the others that should be on her side in Morocco. And she's the one that will do a little longer presentation of her background in Morocco soon. And then Amed, I mean, I never forget, I see it in front of me, the picture that you so actively are always posting on Facebook and Instagram, smiling photos of you, but there was one when you had tried to suicide, and that picture is like with me, and that's why I think it's such activism and such a resistance that you're always smiling on your photos, because just the act of smiling in the face of fundamentalists, in the face of people wanting to kill you, just that smile on a photo is activism. And one of those photos has led to a trial with Facebook. Yes, that you won. Yes. And a lot of death threats. So the gay kiss with the pride flag, Mecca. And the other one in the photo is Mohamed Nufal, Mohamed Hisham. If you have not seen the video on YouTube when he's in an Egyptian TV show, representing someone thinking in the atheist way, in the scientific way, and getting a rage from the TV host that throws him out. And Mohamed is just this peaceful, sweet, looking so surprised almost at what's happening with the humanity when they throw him out. And well, you will tell more, but he's, I think, the less confrontative of our activists here. So there are different ways that you can still make a big change. And Nadia, film director, screenwriter, also a warrior that's been going on for long, known for the film Laïcité, Inshallah. And I have recently seen the film that was showing, after you made Laïcité Inshallah, the reactions, and that you got cancer in the same time, that you were bald and people were smearing you so much. The Islamists always using these really low tactics of attacking the way you look and all this. And I think that film for me was even stronger. Même pas mal. Yeah.
It was shown for the first time in Cologne in a festival, and there is here Carl and Krista, and it was the premiere mondial in Cologne. I never forget, you know, after the projection when the people get out.
Aww. And Maryam, like you said yesterday when you presented Richard Dawkins, you don't really need a presentation. But for me, my first feminine demonstration ever, topless in the street, was together with Farid Arman and other Iranians. And it was for Amina when she came out in Tunisia with her photo, "My body is not your honor." And she was put into virgin test and forced Quran reading, and they said she was mentally sick, and then she was in prison for 4 months, but they wanted to keep her there for 9 years. And we were protesting during half a year, and that's how Femen and Maryam Namazie, that was the first initiation of us doing a lot of activism together. So that's how Maryam has been an important part of my life this last decade. But also, yeah. But also I want to say that the one person that was in between was Inna Shevchenko, and she's also been very important for us, for the changes that we have done through our activism. And she's not here because there's a war in Ukraine and it's tough for her. But she sent a message that I will read. And Slava Ukraina! I was thinking if I stand up, does that... Yes, it works? I'm already bad with my timekeeping. Inna's speech. To Maryam, to Betty, to Nadia, to Jenny, to Mohamed, to Amed, and to all the rebellious apostates or curious supporters of the cause in the room. I regret I'm not there to hear your powerful voices and to feel your fighting spirits. Since 6 months, Russia is waging war against my country, Ukraine. And it's not by accident that the Russian Orthodox Church publicly supports this war that aims to destroy Ukraine, to destroy the innocent civilians and the democratic world with them. Organized religions have rarely missed an opportunity to embrace violence and create chaos in the world. They are at the rendezvous this time as well. This war has brutally affected my family and the close ones, and it also affected my spirit. While the violence that extremists, political or religious, are capable of, it's not new to me.
it's the disillusionment in the democratic world that is just too painful to take for an activist who have always believed and fought for its values. If you paid attention, you would notice that many of my fellow liberals and many on the left, who often hesitated to condemn or even dare to justify the act of violence committed by the religious extremists and the attack on Salman Rushdie, the last one among them, the very same people hesitate to condemn or even, just like the far right, dare to justify Putin's criminal regime and its atrocious attack on Ukrainian people. There are many reasons I couldn't be there with you today, but the most important of them probably is the disillusionment. Yes, I've often been accused of naivety, yet I'm still not embarrassed by my naive and utopian worldview. I'm embarrassed by the cynicism of those in the West who enjoy freedoms but are too afraid to defend and fight for them when the urgency comes. You, my fellow apostates and dissidents, know the high price of freedom, and you also know the danger and fear and hesitation to stand for the right thing. Despite the disillusions and the occasional feeling that we've been losing our fights against the fanatics, we can't give up, precisely because the price of such loss would be too high. The consequences of losing two fundamentalists would be unbearable to live with. Even if we can't win against them, and that's what I often feel, the answer is to continue the resistance, because we still have a lot to fight for, while they have nothing to live for. So promise me we won't stop. You're never giving up, which Ina.
So my hope is that people can change from what they are born into, forced into, what they have taught, what they are taught, to new thoughts. And this is where creativity is key. Thinking out of the box, asking why not, what if. At its heart, any creative process is about discovering something new within ourselves and the bringing of that something into the world for others. And now I'm catching up with Betty Lachgar, So I love to see a father activist here. And Betty's father was also a political activist. Said Lachgar died 2008. He was a political activist, and he taught to Betty this important lesson, that resistance is not about numbers, but about impact. And 1 year later, Betty started the alternative movement for individual liberty in Morocco, Mali, year 2009. And with just a few friends, made a big impact when doing and eating a picnic during Ramadan, which attracted lots of policemen, media, and debate. So, please give up a big applause for Betty Lachgar. It's you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Betty.
So, I'm here to share my story in a few minutes. So, yes, at the beginning, my activism story actually began with the article 222 of the Moroccan Penal Code. This article, I will read it. Whoever, while notoriously known for their membership in the Muslim religion, ostensibly breaks the fast in a public space during the time of Ramadan without grounds permitted by this religion is punishable by imprisonment of 1 to 6 months. So yes, my first action with Mali was to co-organize in 2009 a picnic during Ramadan to condemn this article, this draconian article, actually, and I founded Mali in this year. But let's talk a minute about Morocco, because a lot of people do not know what exactly Morocco is. So Morocco is an absolute monarchy of divine rights. The king, Mohamed VI, has complete control, and his right to rule comes directly from Allah. He is the commander of believers, the descendant of the prophets. So laws are based on Sharia. And the constitution defines Morocco as a Muslim state, and Islam is the state religion. So it's important to know all this, like the king is like a pope, actually. So back to the picnic, 2009, the famous picnic. So Mali was created. Mali is a civil disobedience movement. Yeah, civil disobedience movement. Feminist, universalist, and laïc. So laïc, not secularists. But Nadia will explain that better than me later. We organize a provocative campaigns, action, happening, artistic performance to fight for women's rights, individual liberties, freedom of conscience, sexual and reproductive rights like abortion rights, against homophobia, sexual rights, etc. We fight against social hypocrisy and religious inquisition, and Islamic fascism, actually. And of course, against the patriarchal and misogynistic system. So maybe I can share with you some campaigns and action later, but to give you some examples or some ideas, we organize campaigns and action against the patriarchal myth of female virginity and against virginity testing. So the first campaign in the MENA region was in 2008. Our campaign was "My vulva is mine." So it was a big, big scandal. And with the vulva, you know, it's very taboo. In 2021, last year, we and Maryam, you know, this campaign, we create like fake websites with a box and like to, how to say it, if you believe in in virginity, you can go to this website and you have like a bed sheet and a lot of material to use. Yeah, for no, or for not no. Like people will believe that you, well, people, the husband actually, will believe that you are a virgin. So it was last year, but this year we did another campaign. So it's an illustrated book. So I have it here, but in French. Maryam, I don't know if you have the English version. No problem. So, but you can find it online because there is a ebook on the website. So it's like that. Okay. So to fight against this.
And I think this year you also have a trial coming up.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I can share with you a lot of actions and happenings. But in 2017, during November 25th, the International Day Against Male Violence Against Women, we colored in red the water of fountains in Rabat, and so the authorities published press release against us and personally against me, saying that Morocco is a state of freedom of expression, but they don't believe in this form of expression. So I am prosecuted, and I asked to postpone my trial, and so I have the trial this on September 29th. So yeah.
Yes, we will support you all from social media, supporting. Good. And I think that was an applause for you helping to support also. Good. And thank you, Betty. And on the topic of creativity in challenging fundamentalism and defending secularism, I would like to hear some words from you, Maryam.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I would like to say that I think we should go to Morocco on September 29th.
Whoa.
Yes. Who's coming? Yeah, we have to try and support Betty on social media, of course, but we should also be there if we can. So let's make that pact here right now, that we will try to do that. On the topic of creativity, I guess there's so much to say. I did a talk about this actually for TEDx, which was censored for a year, and then my slides were censored, and there was a trigger warning that it would be distressing for people to have to listen to a 10-minute talk that I gave. And I think the point I made is that what else do we have? What else do dissidents from Islam, free thinkers, what else do we have in order to tell our stories, to say that we exist, and to say that we have rights, the right to be here, the right to live without fear, the right to blasphemy and apostasy. They have violence, they have fear, they have threats. It's constant, it's unrelenting. And all we have, if we don't want to mirror that horrible, disgusting, inhuman movement and ideas, all we have is our expression. And an expression that is the mirror opposite of theirs. One that brings hope, one that brings courage, one that makes people laugh, brings joy, because they want us to be afraid. They want us to be silent. And I think creativity is such a wonderful way, I find the most wonderful way, in order to be able to bring our message, raise our voices, and most importantly, open up the space for others to feel that they can join us. A great example at this very conference, marching on the streets for Salman Rushdie. It's a difficult thing to do, and many people are afraid to do it. But when you do it with creativity, with music, it brings hope, it brings courage, and I think that is the key for me. You know, this idea that we can challenge the most sacred, the most taboo, and do it in a way that gives people a way to reimagine a new world, a world where their threats and their violence and their darkness does not have the last word, as Pragna Patel says. We will have the last word because of many of the ways in which we fight for these rights.
Thank you, Maryam. Nadia, do you want to continue on the same topic?
It's difficult, after Maryam, because she says everything, and she resumes at the end, and she makes the conclusion, and and she organized all this. And yesterday, I follow you all the time. You give me a lot of energy, Maryam. You cannot imagine. No, really. But what can I say? I can speak about censorship. For me, because since I made this movie, Laïcité Inshallah, it's the title in France because they were afraid about the neither Allah nor master, you know. And they were afraid because in Tunisia they destroyed this cinema because of the movie. And they said, we cannot release this movie in France with this title, you know. So we changed. It was the first time in my life that I decided, okay, I accept to change the title because if not, the movie will be not released, you know, in France. So for me, it's a censorship, this. And okay, for the first time, I told you I did not disobey. But now, since I can say 6 years, I'm fighting to find financement for my project. And I didn't find them, you know. And I think it's another censorship, you know, economic in cinema. Economic censorship, it's also a big censure because I write movies, but feature film, not documentaries, and I didn't find money to make them. So now the future project is a comedy. So I hope with humor, you know, I can find more financement. But you know, I'm a filmmaker. I don't know how to express myself in another way than making movie, you know. So I made movies without money and I try to put them on, not Facebook, but YouTube and everything. But I don't believe about that, you know, because I think to raise a lot of people, we need also the work of the critics, the work of the media, the work of being together watching the film too in a theater and everything. So what can I say? I'm just continue fighting, you know, to make my movies now. But, you know, also struggle movie, of course.
Thank you, Nadia. Mohamed, you have came here in the middle of your exams. I'm curious to hear what you want to say.
Ja, das funktioniert. Gut. It functions. Okay, I think creativity is really important because it offers an alternative for the fundamental systems that exist right now. And through creativity, we can also reach the public, we can grab their attention, and that is also important. And for that reason, I think creativity is like our engine. People with charisma and creativity, they are driving our values and our way of life. They are our hope, somehow. Yeah, so that's my contribution.
Thank you. Amed, I know you were trying to get out of social media, but then they go attack Salman Rushdie, and it's just never possible to take a break, kind of. But you're needing it, so let me know what you're thinking about all this process of creativity and fundamentalism.
Hello. First, it's nice to be here. It's amazing, lovely to see you all. Many of you I know only through Facebook since many years. Sorry, could you repeat the question?
No, I mean, there will be questions to you later, so it was just if there was something you wanted to say on the topic now. If not, we can just move on.
We can just move on.
We just move on. Betty, do you want to tell something more about which actions you made? In the name of creativity?
Yeah, there is so many, but I will try to
keep it short.
to share like 2 or 3. Or yeah, for example, in 2012 we invited the NGO from Netherlands, Women on Waves, and so it's about abortion. So we organized a big demonstration, big happening. An action to decriminalize abortion. Abortion is illegal in Morocco. And to make known safe abortion with abortion pills. So since 2012, so 10 years, we help women in Morocco, even if it's risky and forbidden, with abortion pills, and I do it publicly. So this action was really important to open a debate about abortion rights. In 2013, I organized a kiss-in because 2 teenagers were detained, 14 years old, because of they posted a pic on Facebook, photo on Facebook, and so they were detained. So we organized a big kiss-in in Rabat, the capital, in front of the parliament. So it was very dangerous, and yeah, of course we were assaulted by some people there, but after that, so the teenagers were free. Yeah, thank you very much. So it was a victory, actually. Big campaign in 2016, because we have like provocative slogans as well. Like in Morocco, there is a lot of taboos, so we try to break taboos and talking about sensitive issues, you know. So in 2016, we launched a big campaign for sexual liberties and homosexuality, because it's forbidden. So the name of the campaign was "Take Judges Out of Our Panties," and we sent our posters to the majority of ministers in Morocco. And last example, in 2019, in a demonstration in support of a journalist condemned for having sexual intercourse before marriage, because it's forbidden as well, and illegal abortion. I had a big sign in this demonstration with writing on it, "Yes, I have a sexual life and I aborted. Freedom." So it was like the big scandal of the year. And an Islamist deputy launched a big campaign against me on social media. Let's be honest, he's funny. The campaign was, if only, I don't know if the translation is good, but if only your mother had aborted. Is it okay? Yeah. So it was like, yeah, it was, yeah. So it was difficult because of cyber violence. And I don't know if you know I don't know if I have it in English, but there is an international like union of Muslim scholars. You know this institution? Yeah, founded in 2004. And the president, so they vote, so they changed the president. But this year, in 2019, it was a Moroccan president. I think he's the current president. And he declared that I'm too ugly to have sexual intercourse, whether it is illicit or licit. So it was very difficult because it was at the same time. So this is some actions and some examples of what I'm doing.
Thank you.
Just one thing, since this year or 2 years ago, I have a lot of shirts with a lot of messages in English, in French, and in Arabic. And in Morocco, I'm like walking around with my shirts and taking pictures in front of mosque or symbolic institutions, and we paint on walls some messages. So like 2 months ago, I had T-shirts in front of a mosque in Rabat with against abortion, have a vasectomy, and we paint a wall in front of an Islamic institution, very important one, in Arabic. It was abortion is sacred. So this is some examples in Morocco.
And on your sweater. Woo! Allah is lesbian. Can we have a big applause for consensual sex?
Why you can see Allah?
I'm gonna give you some really quick questions. And as you noticed, I'm not good at timekeeping and not good at mathematics neither. So you will have to share these yes and no signs. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. You can grab onto the same yes as your partner or the same no. You can answer yes and no if you don't feel that there is a clear yes or a clear no. It's just a little quick to position yourself ahead of the questions that will come from you. I want you to just remember that fundamentalism is a type of conservative religious movement with strict conformity to holy texts, while creativity brings in the new and trust in change. Fundamentalism conserves the old, has a fear of change, and trust in God or Allah. So, again, on the topic, like I said before, of changing your perspective, before we go on with questions, can you all move place? Just to feel the being in someone else's shoes. You don't need to walk far, you can just change with your neighbor. And stretch your legs a little bit and... Yes. Yes. You want? No, I can't because of the signs. The signs. Okay, thank you. As studying behavioral scientism, I think it's really important that we can put ourselves also in the shoes of the fundamentalist and try to see what do we have in ourselves that can be changed or that we can still be less dogmatic about. And well, these questions are not a big thing, because the bigger ones that will come later when you will make questions soon, try to remember to keep in the frame of the forms of resistance, why creativity is key, what's its impact, why is defense of secularism important for creativity, does secularism have to mean anti-religion? And the first question to you is, does secularism have to mean anti-religion? Yes or no? Oh, so they are if you have the stick towards you, the text will get on the right side. It's all very upside down here now. You have the stick to you, and then the text will get right up. Sorry. So I'm getting no's. All right. Are you an Islamophobe? Da-na-na-na-na. It's even if you don't answer, it's also an answer. It shows that it's open for discussion. Are you a Muslimophobe? Are you afraid when you do your activism or art against fundamentalism? Are you afraid when you do your activism or art? Afraid. Would you do your creativity in challenging fundamentalism if you didn't feel or think that you have to because someone has to do it? Would you prefer to do something else and go on the beach and just take it easy, or would you still yes? Okay, again, would you do your creativity in challenging fundamentalism if you didn't feel or think that you have to do it because someone has to do it? Would you do it if you didn't feel that you have to do it? No. But do you love doing it?
No.
Do you love doing it?
Yes, yes.
Give me the yes. Give me the yes. Yes.
That's for you.
You love doing it. Do you feel that it empowers you? Yes, I want to see the yes signs. Yes. If it's true, no. Good. I want honesty more than anything. And the last one, do you feel that it empowers others? Do you feel that it empowers others?
Yes.
All right.
It's very megalomaniac.
Oh, it's so funny that you write that, because I was just, if we had more time, I would hint to Jimmy, because you speak about the fragile Islamist, you speak about the megalomaniac creative person, and I, as a feminist, I see very much the discussion about narcissist men. And when I was looking at the description of a narcissist man, I noticed that it's quite a description of an Islamist. And in this Grand Dissent, one of the things that you should do to deal with these narcissist people, because they really can't help it, like it's really hard for them to change, is to flatter them. But what we are doing is provoking. So is it the right way? Or should we just flatter them more? Bring up your questions.
You want this one? Yes. Yes.
I'm so sorry, but I'm genuinely surprised that when the question was, "Are you not afraid?" some of you put up a no, and I think, given what's just happened with Salman Rushdie, I remember when we marched in Gay Pride. I remember looking at the signs, thinking, "Shit, what the fuck is going to happen when we pick these up? Like, are we going to get attacked? Are people going to spit at us?" So, and the fear isn't just for physical safety. I think somebody one of the academics said being concerned about your job, losing your job. So there's so many different levels on which, when I'm doing any of my activism, there's some presence of fear for me. And it's, I guess, courage is doing it in the presence of that fear anyway. So I just want to know how you've got no fear. Like, I don't know how else to phrase that question.
I think we collect some questions, and then you pick up what you feel is the most important for you.
Where do I go? Jenny, we're going to have a riot if you don't let us speak.
Go riot.
Jenny, could you pick up who...
No, I don't want to.
Shall I do that?
Yes.
All right, that's a difficult thing.
All right. Who do you think is the most important group to reach? Is it, for example, the people sitting on the fence, on the way to leave the religion, for example?
Take like more 3 questions. Can you manage that, Nadia? You don't need to answer all of them, Nadia.
What?
No, you just pick the one that you find is important for you.
I can wait with it. I can wait with it if that helps. But anyway, so my question mostly is because when we are handling the subjects of leaving religion and the risks to our lives, sometimes when you use creativity, as much as it is effective, it almost feels taking it down, a notch down. So in that regard, are we toning ourselves down? I don't know if that question is clear. I really hope it is.
Do you mean self-censorship or?
Yeah. In the I mean in the sense that when we use humor and poetry and things like that, or a hidden message that we're not very direct with it, are we listening to the voices that we're told to tone down, or are we going with it because it's very, very effective? I'm really hoping this question is clear. Thank you.
More questions or?
Okay, one more. Yeah, of course we need to have Victoria,
Oh, hi.
the creativity
Yeah.
master.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, actually, what I wanted to do was give some comments, if that's okay, just some quick ones, because I think that's what Maryam wanted. Is that cool?
Because
Sorry?
it's you, you
Okay,
have
cool.
special permission.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, so the first of all, I'm sorry if I was like crying. I'm just so overwhelmed by this panel, and I just love you all so much, and I'll probably end up crying again. And can we just have like a round of applause for this fucking panel, because they're so amazing. Yeah. So I wanted to do some comments on art, and then I've got a super short poem. I don't know if there's any time. It's The Laughing Heart by Charles Bukowski, but I don't know if we're going to have time. But yeah, firstly, I think art is there to confront and to question. And when you stifle art, you stifle the human spirit. And I think Jenny and I both know art and science, they share a common ancestor with the human imagination. Without that, there's no hypothesizing. Without what if, there's no discovery. Without experimentation, no advancement. And I believe art to be fundamental to human civilization. And that goes all the way back to the mixing of pigments for body paints 500,000 years ago. It was a precursor to formulating chemistry. It's raw creativity. It's brush paints and your imagination. And to me, body paint is pure courage, pure autonomy, and pure trust. And it comes from curiosity, tenacity, a need to make the world a better place. And you need these to be a successful activist. And until my last breath, I will defend dissent, freedom of conscience, and expression.
Whoa, thank you, Victoria.
Comment? Can I comment?
I guess we can continue with the answers now.
There's like a fly came in my ear. Can I say something?
Sure.
Just because I would like to say something, sorry, on the panel before we go.
You don't need to apologize, Maryam.
Can I just make a couple of points?
Yes.
on the issue that Jimmy raised of being afraid, I guess the way to look at it is that, you know, when you get on a plane, you might be a little afraid that it's going to crash. I think we all have that feeling, but we still get on the plane, and it doesn't paralyze us. And I think that is a very similar feeling. You know, you might be a little worried, particularly if you're an organizer. You're worried for those you organize more than for yourself. But in the end, you know that it has to be done. You have to be there, and you owe it to many people who can't. So in that sense, it's sort of a risk you take every day in your life. This is just another one, but it's a very meaningful one, and it's a really important one as well. Can I just also, there was two other questions, if I can just respond, and then I'll pass it on. On the issue of who we're trying to reach, I think even though I hate religion and I hate the religious right, I know there are many believers who are on our side. And I think it goes back to the concept of laïcité and the separation of religion from the state, and we want everyone. But even though we want everyone, it doesn't mean that we can no longer criticize religion because it will offend believers. Their religion offends me day in and day out, but I can still manage to work with believers, and even though passing a mosque makes me physically sick, I can still defend the right for people to have their mosques and to pray in it. All we're asking is for believers to do the same, have the same courtesy for us. You don't like what we say, that's fine. You know, go cry in a little room on your own if your sensibilities are so fragile. But recognize the fact that I have a right, just as much as you have a right, to talk your absurd, violent nonsense against women, against gay people, against minorities, and everyone else who doesn't agree with you. The final point I want to make is the point that Halima made. And are we toning it down? We're not. Listen, when we go to gay pride and say Allah is gay, I don't think anyone anywhere in the world will think we're toning things down. You know, but I think that we have to, because what we say is so taboo, is so such a challenge to the sacred and those in power that are killing day in and day out to silence anyone that challenges them. We have to find ways that will also make people smile. And I think that is, I think Shabana Rehman, the wonderful comedian who can't be with us today because she's not well, she says, someone who's laughing isn't afraid anymore. And I think it is about, you know, using creativity to open up that space. A lot of ex-Muslims would not have marched at Gay Pride. They were afraid to march at Gay Pride. But they kept coming in larger and larger numbers because it was a creative way of saying something that means so much and is actually a matter of life and death to so many of us.
So, when I'm afraid, I run away, you know? So I can't be afraid when I making anything. For me, it's something, it's reality. I mean, I can understand some people are afraid about something, but for me, it's not a reason to not doing something, you know? I just forget my how do you say, my afraid? My fear, you know? And also, I think in my life, the adversity, it's something like oil, you know, for me, for my motor, you know. I like it, you know. Also, you can, the Islamists challenge me, you know, they want to kill me, they want they want me to not speak anymore, to not making movie, so I will make more and more, you know. A lot of time, you know, when journalists ask me, but why are you making this movie, you know? And I said, but why don't you ask me why you are breathing, why you are eating, why you are making love, why you are, you know, I need this to feel in life. I need this. And they believe, you know, there is paradise after death. So for them, you know, they are only here to wait for death, you know. And for me, you know, I think the paradise could be on the earth. So it's a difference, you know, between us.
Oh, you don't have any mic? Oh. Okay, I'm just noticing that this is like a balance to the panel that was yesterday, when it was very many men and it was talk about patriarchy. So if you guys want to say something.
Really? You don't have any mics? Where are all the mics? Now you can speak, you know?
Can we have some mics back?
They took our mics away also. Yeah, I wanted to comment about fear, and I wanted to say a really small story. When I was new in Germany, they did put me in the same room with an ISIS supporter. This person discovered my identity through internet, and then the hell doors broke loose, so I had to sleep with a knife under my pillow. And the city wouldn't do anything about it. And fear exists. With me, fear is strong. But as Maryam has said, it should not stop us. And that brings me to the next question, the groups. What important groups we should reach? I would say here in the West, we need to reach the politician. We need a better lobbying for us because they don't understand. Here in Germany, it was a surprise a couple of years ago for people who works in the authorities and saw that atheists or ex-Muslims need to escape or are in danger even. And these people we need to bust that. We need to show them the reality of the situation. And Germany is a democracy, for example, so in order to reach the politician, we need to reach the people. And here also creativity is important because, yeah, how to reach the people without being interesting, for example. Yeah, and the second important group, I think it would be in our lands, in our countries, in the Middle East, Muslim teenagers. Because teenagers, I think they have strong desire for rebellion, sometimes a strong desire to change, and I think a lot of us did leave religion maybe in that age, in that period, as a teen, trying to discover the world and so. And these people should be, we should pay interest for them. And for example, there was a very successful blogger in Egypt. His name is Sherif Gaber. This guy is, yeah. Sherif Gaber managed to achieve in the Arab world a lot in terms of reaching young people. He was really effective, and now, unfortunately, his situation is really bad. He must hide, and he cannot even smuggle himself out of the country because he's so famous. They would kill him. The smugglers themselves would kill him. So it's a really desperate situation, and here I must also mention that creativity needs protection, because if you're afraid, you cannot really truly be creative. And here self-censorship will come, that Halima did speak about. And we will maybe be afraid a little to say the things that we should say maybe. And that happens, and it's a normal consequence of the community, of our reality in the Middle East, and so even now in the West. And the number of religious people are increasing through immigration, and I can imagine that the situation would get in the future not better. But I think there are people who would disagree with me and would say that trends are going the other way around. But yeah, we will see the future, and I'm really I'm excited about it. So yeah, that's.
Do you want to say something, Amed?
To the question from Jimmy, I myself personally also have fear when I do something, trying to show my message. That I get an example for a few years ago, a year after you in Council of Ex-Muslim, Britain did the last gay there a year after, and on the Christmas Street Day in Berlin, I decided we can bring that also to Germany. Why not in Berlin? So I decided to print that on my T-shirt. I posted on Facebook that I will be there on Christmas Street Day to show solidarity also with the LGBT people in the Muslim country. I got really many death threats that I had to spend also a whole weekend with police protection. I also experienced violence in Germany from Islamists that I ended up in hospital. Received like death threats even from the Islamic State. Like the fearness always exists, but this isn't a reason that we stop, and we have to show ourselves. Only that way we can change something.
I need to finish. We need to cut. 10 minutes. Oh, extra 10 minutes?
No, 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
We have 10 minutes. Oh.
It's about the fear. Personally, I'm never afraid. Actually, when I organize the actions, but panels it's different. So yeah, but I think hopefully I'm not afraid, because I think if I was afraid, I will stop really. But I have a personal reason. Because I share this reason publicly. When I arrived in France for my studies, because I was in Morocco, I was born in Morocco and I lived in Morocco, I got sick with a cancer, and I was alone because my family was within Morocco. So it was actually my first fight or my first battle. And all my life and all my personality, I don't know, changed. And I think it's really the fundamental reason that now I can say it. I'm never afraid. I don't know what it is, but it helps me in my activism, actually, to be honest.
Make it short.
I mean, I'm the worst timekeeper on the earth, so I already realized that we have extra minutes. Go ahead, Amed.
Yesterday, one of the in the panels, I was it was not something new. I heard it that the Islam is unreformable, and the Muslims can't be different. Like, this is their religion. That's how they are. That they're anti-LGBT and close-minded and everything. I have other experience. I know people. I know Muslims who are LGBT friendly and open-minded and all that. I find that very problematic when people are exactly fighting those people who are trying to be different. We have always the expectation that the people get changed, getting open-minded, not being so aggressive, but telling them they can't be different. Their religion saying they can't be. Or liberal Muslim are even more dangerous than Islamists. I've been really shocked I heard that. And those people facing that not only from non-believer, European, also from ex-Muslim, being told that they can't be different than their religion. It's unchangeable, this is it. That's why I see that a very big problematic, that the people they don't get any chance to change. They be it's your culture, it's like that, and your religion.
Yes, thank you for bringing this up, because I was going to comment on that. I've noticed from your post on social media that you do have this will in your activism to find this meeting, not just the confrontation, the seeing each other, understanding each other. And I will give you the word, but I have one question that I actually have 3 questions that I've been getting from social media. So if you have time to answer it now, or if you can bring it with you and think about it and answer it in other ways with yourself, with people. This one is from Harami, ex-Muslim. He would love to know more on how can we as fellow ex-Muslims work individually and collectively to increase support and resources for ex-Muslims, especially the ones who are unfortunately stuck and fear for their lives in Muslim countries. And then there are 2 ones from Swedish feminist friends that I'm not finding, but I remember them. One of them is, how do you keep up your energy? And the other one is on the topic that I would like to bring with us when we leave here. What is your most hopeful thoughts for what we can do for the future? And I think I'm kind of finishing here, and I will give you the last words in the panel. Oh, there is one more question. Many questions. Oh, so many questions.
I have the mic, actually.
Okay, go ahead.
So, first of all, thank you for being here, and I love you, Amed. I love you. You are the guy who is clear in his sexuality, his gender identity, and yet is our ally. And you have shown it on so many platforms. You have done it on so many ways that even sometimes I'm like, wow, this guy rocks. And you do, actually. I have just 2 things to say here. One is that fear is there. Don't undermine it. But if our ancestors were not afraid, if I may, our ecologist Richard Dawkins, we would not be here. They were afraid, they were cautious, and they were actually gauging their next steps. That's why we still are here. Otherwise, the human race, sitting like a duck, would be gone away thousands of years ago, or millennium. So fear is something that keeps us going and going and going and going and making things better. And the other thing that please, 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 please never forget, regardless of your identities, whatever they are, we are part of this human family. My source of your last question as well, if I may, power is the godchildren I have. So once I spend time with them, I revitalize myself, and being a godmother gives me that energy to keep fighting. And I fight for them. Later, they could be gay, they could be trans, they could be atheists, they could be Muslims, they could be Christians. They can adopt anything they want. Right now, they are clean slates. But whatever they become in their lives, once they're on the streets, they should be not afraid of their lives. They should not be afraid for their lives that they would be killed just because who they are. I think that should be our goal, and we should never forget that we are a family. We need people around us, and the people around us are we, and we are them.
We are a family.
Yes.
Yes. It's like this. I kind of already closed the panel, and I feel that this that is going on here is like your activism of continuing. But I think maybe we should respect the ones that are following. And I hope you can stay here and keep on talking after. And if I will give the last word to someone, it will not be to the audience right now. It's if some of you feel that you want to really say some last word, or if we are summing it up here. You want to say something? I love when you say something.
Okay, I would say that really fast. I have to comment about what Ahmed said regarding reforming Islam. I know it is a fight, a big fight, but I would just say something really fast. If some Muslim come and tell me, yeah, violence does not represent Islam, I would tell him, yeah, great, you're a great guy. But the problem is that there is no intellectual framework for Muslim, no intellectual framework that translates the Quran peacefully. And we should have that, okay? And then we would have a chance. We see churches that accept and bless the gay marriage now. And maybe that is against a lot of against things in the Bible. And we can see that also by Muslims. But until now, there is not enough funding going in realizing this peaceful vision of Islam. There are people who tries, but there are no really success. And I think we will not be able to eliminate Islam. It will exist, and it will outlive us, all of us. I think so, and that is a realistic point of view. Okay, but we can tame it. We can contain it. It is possible. That is it. And I know it's not about creativity, but I had to say it.
So my hope is that those who are born into Muslim families will become our future free thinkers.
Can I just go back to the topic of creativity and its importance? And I think, again, I just want to say that there are many ways of resistance. But if your resistance is going to be non-violent, if it is going to be anti-racist, if it is going to be anti-sexist, there is very few options available to you. You can speak, you can scream, you can write. you can sing, you can dance. It all leads to creativity in one way or another. You say poems. And I think that's why it's so essential, because if we think about it, creativity is what makes us essentially human. And I think that's why it has such an effect on those who witness it or those who take part in it, because it takes us back to what it is to be essentially human. And it breaks a lot of the borders and boundaries and divisions, from identity politics to national, religious, cultural divisions. So I think it is key. And I agree fully that this is a fight of believers and non-believers against the